Hello everyone, today I'm going to go over my 30-day drawing challenge. As you can probably tell, this was inspired by PewDiePie and many others that have come after him. But I've wanted to try it myself to see if I can improve. I'm not new to art, but I've just wanted to get a lot more consistent and good enough that I can do my own animations. Because I've always wanted to do that sort of thing, being inspired by some really cool One Piece animations and fan animations of One Punch Man and all that. So, before I started doing the 30-day drawing challenge, I decided that I wanted to try and do my own animations, and I have them here. This is the first one I did because I've heard that you need to start quite simple. This is it. I feel like it went pretty well. I've paid attention to squash and stretch, especially in the second one, because you can see how the ball warps. I kept the size of it consistent, the volume of it. Now, I then moved immediately onto an animation that I've wanted to do for a while, and I planned it all out, and made an entire fight sequence, and I'll show you it now. Now, that it's quite scuffed at the moment. I'm probably going to continue this. It was really fun to try and challenge myself with the shifting head, like here. Changing perspectives was a really hard thing for me to do, and especially this. That was fun. And then I spent way too long in these, which was originally meant to be a single impact frame. But I just made it into this, and it was just so fun to do. And I feel like it had a pretty good effect. And then I started planning out the next section of my animation. Now, this is the point where I realised that I'm not good at drawing people. So, there were originally drawings here, but I removed them because they weren't that good, and wasn't that good at drawing people. So this is where the 30-day drawing challenge came in. I have it here. If you want to know this program, it's PureRef. It's pretty good. You basically you can put like any image you want on it and change the size and anything like that. I've got all my drawings here. But let's just start from day one. So day one, I feel like started with a pretty decent start. I got the anatomy all down. I feel like this was kind of a fluke, because trust me, my guidelines were not good for this, but it worked out. Day two was a little worse because like that perspective and it's really difficult to do, and I think I made the legs a little long. You can't see them, but they are a little long. For day three, it turned out really well. Again, I feel like it was another fluke. If that head wasn't a fluke, that was really fun to do. And I got the proportions down pretty well, I feel like. Day four, as I wrote here, I drew too close to the tree. This was just me trying to copy the drawing exactly. I still wasn't doing it based on my knowledge of anatomy, I was just doing it based on how I think it should have looked. Now, day five, this was a low point for me. Their faces and Denji's legs, they did not turn out well. So I decided to go a little easy on myself the next day with this, because it's just a bunch of nice straight lines, and you can even see the guidelines I did here. This is how bad they were. I just drew a box for the torso and called it a day. Next one, this is my first real, well, excluding day one, this is my first really good one. The head's a little scuffed, the eyes should be a little lower. Everything else I feel like went pretty well. The movement lines were pretty fun to do. Day 8, this is my first really big one, and the hair was so fun. The blood streaking across the page was really fun to do. Now, day 9, this is another real low point for me. This is when I realised that foreshortening is not one of my strengths, and I really needed to get a grasp of what the human body actually looked like, because all of these were basically just me copying and trying to do a rough outline of what I thought and the start of the body should look like. So I moved on to this. These are still not too good, but I at least had knowledge of what things should look like the shoulders, the biceps, the triceps, the thighs. And I did this. This was my first one, if you're wondering. This is basically an example of what my guidelines looked like beforehand. So they're not too good, but you have to start somewhere, don't you? I did a lot more for this day because I was kind of on a drawing high. Now at 11 I did more poses. They weren't as good as day 1 in my opinion. Some of them still turn out good, like this one. I tried a bit of foreshortening here with an image I found. Didn't go well. One of my first really good poses. I feel like I got the positioning of the arms pretty good. If anything, I feel like this arm shouldn't quite look like this. I'm quite happy with this because I know where I've gone wrong, and that shows that I've put in a bit of improvement. Like for these two, the torso art is too long and the legs are a little too short. Maybe not for this one, but this one the legs are definitely too short, as you can see a row there. This is when I discovered Pinterest, so I decided to try and do a lot of ones from there. Problem with Pinterest is a lot of them have foreshortening, like here, which I shouldn't have gone into so suddenly. One is another one I found on Pinterest. I don't know if it's a fan created one or if it's from the official manga. I think it's Hajime no Ippo. This is my first point where you can actually see some pretty decent muscles, and that was just me going crazy. And also this was pretty decent as well. If anything, I'd say that leg is a little long. Same with this one was really fun to do, but looking back on it, it's not as good as I remember it being. The legs are a little wonky. Now this is where I started using JJK as a reference, because if you've noticed, all these, well, the majority of these past ones up to day 9 have all been from Tatsuki Fujimoto. I've only done ones from Tatsuki Fujimoto and Gege because they're, in my opinion, have the most anatomically correct characters. Like, I could have done ones from One Piece and all that, but that's teaching me nothing. So yeah, this one especially turned out pretty well. Tried my go at Hanzo, and it went okay. Again, I've written here too short, which was correct. I wrote oof here because I felt like it wasn't that good of a day. On retrospect, it was a decent day. This is one of my high points. I spent nearly 2 hours on this. This is fan art. I don't have the name of the person who did this, so I'm sorry if this is stealing, but I feel like I put enough of myself into this to do it. Like, this floor wasn't original, but I put my rubber away from my paper and used that as the focal point for, like, perspective. I think it's 1 point perspective. And I put so much effort into this area, which was originally in the fan art. It was originally just black, whereas this, you can see I've done each hair strand individually. Well, not quite hair strand, but you can see the flow of the hair, which I haven't done in past drawings. Here, we've got some more. This, I remember correctly, this is when I found a reference website. I don't remember the name of it. I'm pretty sure you can just search up, like, body references and you'll get the website. These were pretty good, because these were not from anime characters or anything. These were all from real people. I got more of these. Looking back, I can see that his arms are a little too thin, in my opinion, compared to what the reference was. Day 17, this one was done with the reference, and this one was done with no reference, and I'm pretty happy with it. I don't know what the legs are doing, but I just imagine that he's running. Doesn't quite look like he's running, but it looks anatomically correct, so I'm happy with that. Day 18, I wouldn't call this a low point, I call this a lack of motivation. This day I didn't feel like drawing at all, but I still wanted to get something done. It was a matter of principle, in a way. This is from Kagurabachi. You wouldn't be able to tell, but yes. Day 19 I started doing some references from Berserk. This arm was quite fun, the hand. This is from a very dark scene in it, but I feel like I got the body done pretty decent. Now these I feel were flukes, because I got the faces down pretty well, pretty much just first try. And I tried to replicate their shading style. I think I did it pretty well. For day 20 and 21, I decided to try my hand at some character sheets. Now, if you remember the start of the video, so those character designs are for this animation that I was doing. Now, these aren't expressly for it, because originally this skeleton was gonna fight a girl that I'd designed on a different sheet of paper, which I don't have on me right now. But this skeleton guy, if I can find the right frame, he is this guy. And you can probably see the similarities. If anything, this one's a little boxier. But I just decided on a story, and at the start of the story he is a human. So I decided to do one of the human, and it turned out pretty well, no reference. This one did have a reference though. I didn't take everything from the reference. I made the armors by myself, I did the cloak by myself, the face is a little bit done with the reference though. Just to get the idea of what an old man looks like. And I think I did it pretty down. This is a definite low point. I was trying to figure out how to do faces from different perspectives, because as you can see here, most of them were either straightforward, no face at all, or I put no effort into them. So I tried ones from different perspectives. This one was a decent one, these ones were especially this chunky necked person. So I decided to take a break from manga and anime characters and decide to do a real life person. This is from another reference site, you'll be able to find it quite easily. It's a head pose site where you can input a position of a head and it sort of finds positions of heads in images. So this is one of them. It turned out pretty well. I tried a little bit of cross hatching here. Not very clear, but you can see the effort. This was a pretty decent day. This guy turned out not too great, but here I put so much effort in, and this is one of those drawings where I want to keep adding to it. I want to put as much effort into it as possible. I always feel like there's something I can improve on, and that's why there's so many lines. This is my problem. When I find a drawing that I'm really happy with, I want to keep adding to it because I think, oh, I need to take hold of this opportunity. It's so good, I want to try and finish this in the best way possible. And in the process, I end up adding a little too much, and it looks bad in the end. I wouldn't say this looks bad, but I'd say I've overdone it a little bit. With all these lines, it was cross-hatching that's not even cross-hatching anymore, and hair, which started off okay, and I just made it messier and messier. And moving on from that, this was on the same day because I did that one at school. My friends decided to draw their own things. One of my friends drew Ichigo, and another one drew what he calls, if I remember correctly, the Sussy Chungus. I didn't question it, but he is a weird guy. Went back to JJK references, and this one, what I feel was a fluke. If anything, I feel like the jaw should have gone back a little further. This guy, I drew this without reading manga first, so I didn't know what this character was. Now I know it's the President of the United States in it, which is quite goofy. That was done from a reference sheet found in Pure Ref. If you search up JJK poses, you'll find the Reddit posts and you'll find the files from there on, so it's a pretty good source. These were also done from that. This guy turned out okay. This guy I'm really happy with. If anything, the eyes should go down a little. And that's all. This one was one of my best heads so far, just because of the proportions being so well done and me actually understanding how to structure a face properly and getting the hang of it. So if from this point on, if you haven't read the JJK manga, I suggest doing that and then coming back, because some of these images will contain some pretty big spoilers, such as this one. Sukuna. You might think this guy isn't the best for learning anatomy, but if you ignore his other arms, you can just focus on these arms and it's still pretty good. And again, his eyes, they aren't anatomically correct for a real person, but I didn't care too much to think about that. But his hands turned out a little wonky. This one turned out okay if you ignore the small details. This one I put a lot of effort into trying to fix, and it didn't work. If anything, his arms are a little chubby at the end. Except for this one. This one's pretty decent. And now for this next one. This one was really fun to do. I really enjoy drawing fluffy objects because I can just draw whatever I want and it'll look fluffy, if you know what I mean. If anything, for this one the neck's a little too long, but everything else is pretty decent. And here, because I didn't colour in the main thing in black, you can see my structure for how to create a person. First, I draw in the head and draw the direction of the head, and then below I draw the shoulders, I draw the direction of the main body, I draw where the hip should be, and then I draw where the legs should go on, and then I draw these from where the shoulders are. This one, I can't remember the character. I think they're the invisible character, but it turned out really well. It's one of those ones that took almost no rub outs, so I'm really happy with that. Almost nothing that I would say is bad with this one. Small criticism, I shaded this bit wrong. I accidentally went a little too dark towards the end, and I just couldn't be bothered to fix that. So apart from that, everything's pretty perfect with this one. This guy is the gambler dude, I can't remember his name, but he was really fun to do. I did everything with cross-hatching. I don't know if that was appropriate for this drawing, but I think it turned out pretty decent. This is when I actually started to understand how muscles are structured. So from the shoulder you got that, and then you got the biceps and triceps, as I've said before. No, that's not the triceps. What am I saying? This is the triceps. That's a forearm. I don't remember what the muscles are called either. But I actually understood what I was drawing. The hands look scuffed from there, but if you look back, they're actually fine. I drew the direction of his back, his shoulder blades. I drew his shoulder blades there, and yeah, at this point I'm actually understanding what it is I'm drawing, and not just, oh, I'm drawing a line that I've seen so much. This next one, again, spoilers. If you don't, you probably can't tell what this character is because the face is a little scuffed. If you don't want to, skip ahead in the video. This is Naoya. This really stopped my motivation, because I thought, oh, I put so much effort into this and it doesn't look good. But looking back, I can understand where I went wrong, such as the head is a little too big, and I think the neck might be a little long. Maybe it's just stretching, but that's it. This is day 30, the final day of my challenge, and like so many of these people that have made these 30-day videos make this spectacular work of art that fits their progress and how well they've done. Day 30 wasn't quite like that for me. It was not as good as some other days. Like, these two are better than any of the art in day 30 if I remember correctly. This was a bit of foreshortening. This should have been made bigger. His head is wonky. I still don't understand where I went wrong with that. That's something I need to work on. Hand looked a bit wonky. Again, still struggling with drawing hands. This is the best one from day 30. Because, again, this one almost needed no rubbing out. As you can see here, there was a little bit of rubbing out, but that was just me changing the angle of his arm. But it went so well first try, because all these lines are just sketch lines. It's so satisfying to do, and the angle of the face is one that I decided to give myself as a challenge, because I'm bad at drawing under the chins, and it turned out pretty good. This next one, this is Maki again. Kind of stopped drawing it after a while because it didn't turn out too good. The hand, the fingers should have been drawn longer. The shoulder should have been a little closer to the face. So this was the last drawing I did in here because I thought the last one drawing should be at least significant. I made the hair a little too outlined here. I'm not too happy with it. The face is a little wonky. Again, this is one of those ones where I still don't understand where it went wrong with it. The small change I made here from the original image, the arm was angled this way, but my paper wasn't big enough for that, so I decided to draw it like this. So that was a bit of a challenge to see if I could draw it from a different angle in the reference, and I think I did that decent. The main body I feel went a little wrong, and it's recent enough that I still don't understand what went wrong, but that should come with practice. I should understand what went wrong. So on that note, let's discuss how I've improved, or if I have improved. So let's look back at day one. This was a very, very high note to start on the first day of this challenge. I don't feel like I should have done this because it set the expectations for later on. If we ignore day one, we can see how I've made the improvement of actually understanding the anatomy of what I'm drawing. This arm wouldn't have turned out like that if I had understood what I was drawing. If we look at some other ones here, I would have understood that the arm needs to be longer. If this is meant to be this short, it should have been drawn bigger because it would have been foreshortened. That's the main thing that I think I've improved on. Something that I've unconsciously improved on though is drawing circles, because I've gotten a lot more consistent at that. You probably can't see that with this because most of my guidelines are gone. Well, here's a circle. You can see it's pretty well done. And that's pretty much it. From here, what I want to be able to try and do is work on animating and try and learn how to incorporate what I've learnt here into the process of animation and how these things will move. I don't know when I'll start that, but if I end up making anything really good, I will post it to this channel. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, maybe subscribe and drop a like. That's me signing off. Thanks.